Now to make this Moscato wine, I've got 6.5 pounds of Muscat seedless grapes. I need 2 cups of white granulated sugar. I'll be using a packet of Red Star Coupe Sponge wine yeast. Now, if you don't have wine yeast, you can always use bread yeast. Works just as well. This is optional, but I need straining bags. I need a wide mouth fermenter. If you don't have that, a food grade bucket with lid would also work as well. I'll need a secondary fermenter, jug, demijohn, carboy that we can transfer our juice into in a few weeks. I need an airlock with bung. That's a number 7 bung on that airlock. Tends to fit most 1 gallon and 4-liter jugs. Now, this particular fermenter does have its own built-in airlock, but it also comes with a standard airlock if you wish to use that as well. Now, you'll also need an 8-quart pot with lid. And with my wines, I'm always going to use a food-grade sanitizer to make sure that everything's been properly cleaned and sanitized. And that's what I'm going to be using to make this wine. Okay, the first thing we want to do is that we want to remove the grapes from the stems. And we don't want to just go through and strip them off. Pull off a little stem here. We don't want to strip them off and dump them in because we want to check these grapes. There's always going to be 1 or 2 where there's going to be a grape that's going to have an issue. If you don't want to eat it, then you certainly don't want it in your wine. So we'll just go ahead and get this process going. In fact, let me remove the offending grapes since I've got my eyes on them. And a small stem here. Visually inspect them and put them in another container. There are going to be a few that will try and make a break for it. They will be recaptured and put back to work. Just about done. Still a few more that are not going to pass quality control. Nope. And the rest of these look okay. Now, since you really don't know what's done what on these grapes while they were growing on the vines, maybe it's a good idea if we gave them a quick rinse. Now, because we're not going to be using the wild yeast that we found on the grape skins themselves, we need to find a way to kill off that wild yeast without necessarily damaging the grapes. Those of you using Camden tablets, feel free, but that's not this kind of channel. So one way for me to do it is to bring up about 2.5 liters. I'm sorry, 2.5 quarts, which should just be enough to cover the wine, grapes. And we want to bring this up to a boil. All right, now that our water has come to a good rolling boil, turn the heat down a bit, and we can start putting in our grapes. Now, it only takes 165 degrees to kill off the yeast. So it should not take too long, but the grapes are kind of cool, so not quite sure how that's going to work out. All right, give them a little bit of a stir. Oh, keep everything kind of the same temperature. And just so I know what the temperature is, I've got an instant read thermometer here. You don't need one because I'm doing this for you. Temperature is now down to 107, 129. That's encouraging. 140, 145. I need 165. Well, I might be able to get it. kind of struggling there past the, oh, I guess not. So I'm going to bring the temperature back up. And let's see if I can get this back up to 165 without turning our grapes into soup. Okay, that took about 4 minutes to get our temperature up to 165. We can now turn off the stove. Get rid of this because we don't need it. And let's go ahead and pour off this water. It's done its job. All right, I'm also gonna rinse the grapes off with cool water to stop the process of the grapes being cooked. Ah, a stem. Let's get rid of that. You really can't see it because it's in shadows, but I really don't want that in my wine either. I can now move on to the next step. Now we want to crush these grapes in order to help with the extraction of the juice. And whatever method you choose to employ, please employ it. As for me, since these are seedless grapes, I'm going to use a food processor because I've had some pretty good results by using it. Let's go ahead and load up a couple of these. How's this one looking? I ain't happy with that one. All right, we'll start with just a couple of handfuls. And let's go ahead and give this a couple of pulses. You know what? Let's turn it so we can see what's going on. I mean, that works. But then so does this. Now for my next trick, to get these into cleaned and sanitized straining bags. So I can move this back a bit so you can see what's going on. Again, like I said before, if you start using straining bags, more power to you. You really don't need them. But I'm going to use them anyway. Okay. That's the first load. Hoping I can get these in just 2 straining bags. We'll see in a second here. It's not so much of getting it in the bags, it's a question of being able to tie the bags off afterwards. It looks like 2 ought to do it. All right, let's transfer our juice into our fermenter. I'm going to set the bags aside for the moment. And go ahead and pour in our juice. And I'd say this is still about 50% juice in each bag. So, that being the case, I'm just going to go ahead and put in our bags. I now know roughly how much I've got in here. I could measure it. So we get 2 cups of sugar. And let me get something to stir it with. Now, for me, I would quickly sanitize my degassing wine. And I'll be back to incorporate this syrup. And just by looking at it, it looks like I've got roughly half a gallon of grape juice. There's still, like I said before, there's still quite a bit of juice in these bags. So I'm going to take that into account. And I'm going to go ahead and now put in the bags. Any remaining juice that might still be there. Okay. That's a gallon on my mark. Okay, this is something you rarely see me do on my channel, and that is I'm going to bloom my yeast. And the reason for that is that usually just by sprinkling the yeast on top, it works quite well. But this yeast is getting up there in terms of age, so I better check it to make sure it's still good. So let me pour off a little bit of my juice, and let me go ahead and add in my yeast. And let's give it a little bit of time. It's been about 10 minutes, and this yeast has bloomed up rather nicely. It's nice and foamy, and it's ready to do its thing. So we're going to go ahead and add this to our juice. Now then, just so I can keep my story straight, let's label this creation. I am making a Moscato wine. I started it on this date, and my starting gravity was 1.112. Now I'm going to let this sit for the next 24 hours. I'm going to let it sit, and then I'm going to put in the small airlock that actually goes with it, with its small size bung, which will fit right up in there. And we're going to see what kind of activity we've got. And then I'll call it a wrap and wait for the next process to occur, which will either be transferring it or racking it into its secondary fermenter, which might be later on, or just simply coming back when the wine is done and we're doing that tasting. Here we are the following day, and fermentation is well underway. Now, one more thing before I wrap this portion of the video up. Within the first 2 or 3 days, you might want to go ahead and break up any fruit cap that might be floating if you're not using straining bags. If you are, you might just go ahead and tilt those over. And it doesn't hurt during these first couple of days to go ahead and give your must a stir. See if you can bring in just a little bit more oxygen that the yeast needs. It won't need it after a couple of days, but it can certainly help with it now. Put my lid back on. And there we go.